Meanwhile, defense attorneys for Sean Diddy Combs are considering requesting a 2-week delay in his sex trafficking and racketeering trial. This comes after the hip-hop mogul pled not guilty to additional charges filed against him in another superseding indictment yesterday. Now, Combs' attorneys are raising issues with getting access to evidence from the government, accusing prosecutors of withholding emails and messages from a key witness. ABC News legal contributor and trial attorney Brian Buckmeyer joins me now for more on this. Brian, during the hearing yesterday, a judge said the defense had 48 hours to request this 2-week adjournment, which would ultimately push back the trial date. So how likely is it that the defense will move forward with this request, and what would their strategy be in doing so?
Well, that question is kind of wrapped up in itself, because how likely it is to request a 2-week adjournment would depend on which information was presented, what is missing, and how much those two categories exist. This is what I mean by that. This information comes from, we believe, the alleged victim number 4. And if there are a lot of text messages that are missing and the defense feels that they need those text messages to try to prove their case, to try to prove that this was consensual sex between a former ex-girlfriend or a former lover, then they say, hey, it's maybe worth it to wait 2 more weeks to get that information. If they don't believe it's worth it, then they'll push further ahead. So it just depends on the quantity and quality of evidence.
So if they don't have this particular text message, are there other avenues for them? I mean, how do they move forward with this?
Yeah, so there are 2 routes for this. It's either saying, Your Honor, let's get more time, and if that kind of ship has sailed, then it's asking what we call suppression of that information, where the defense would say, okay, if you're only giving us, for example, 5 text messages, and we know that there are other text messages that exist, if a conversation during the trial leads towards there being other conversations, those messages should be suppressed, meaning withheld from the jury, or there should be potentially a negative inference, meaning that the lack of information could go against the government, and somewhat positive for the defense. It's all a part of the strategy as to what to do when you have missing evidence, according to the defense.
And so now there's another indictment. So what impact could that have on this trial?
So Sean Combs' attorneys are saying not much, really. They're saying these are the same allegations and the same accusers, saying that these are longtime former ex-girlfriends who are making complaints. That's the defense's argument. But it does change the indictment in the sense that we have 5 counts rather than 3, and we're seeing additional counts named the same type of counts, the transportation for purpose of prostitution and sex trafficking, associated with 2 new alleged victims, and that racketeering conspiracy charge has a 3rd alleged victim in that as well. So same charges going from 3 to 5, though, but similar, if not the same, allegations.
So at the moment, the trial is slated to start May 12th, but there could be a delay. So what might that mean for this trial? And more than that, what are you looking for more broadly? Are there some explosive witness testimonies, people we should be watching out for at this trial?
Yeah, so I mean, it's what, mid to late April now. They believe that jury selection is supposed to be May 5th, with opening statements starting the following week on May 12th. But just think about this. It's supposed to be an 8-week long trial. So you've got Memorial Day, you've got potentially even the 4th of July. And if you're going to sit there and ask potential jurors to sit there for 8 weeks and say, hey, these are all the holidays, all the days that are going to come up during this potential trial, that's going to make it very difficult for selecting jurors, on top of, do you have an idea as to who the defendant is? Do you have a bias already as to what the allegations are? And if that's an issue with jury selection, I don't anticipate 5 days to pick a jury with all of these different issues. It could push back this trial even more. And what I'm looking for in this case is, those explosive allegations. What are going to happen when we find out who, in fact, are on the witness list for the government and what exhibits are going to be shown? We saw that there was an argument for it yesterday, that the deadline for the government to turn that over was April 4th, which was yesterday. They're saying they're pushing it back to today. And is it going to get pushed back even further? What more are we going to learn about this case as it continues?
A lot of people will be watching this to see what happens next. ABC News legal contributor Brian Buckmeyer, thank you very much. And you can catch Brian's podcast, Bad Rap, The Case Against Diddy, anywhere you listen to podcasts. New episodes drop every Tuesday.